Across most of the northern hemisphere, it's transition time in our gardens. As we roll through September, let's take a look at what our September garden should look like, and then discuss 3 September hacks to boost our garden output going into the fall. Welcome back, guys. As summer winds down, our thoughts naturally turn, to our final summer harvests and hopefully to our fall planting. In this video, I want to discuss what your September garden should look like, as well as 3 tips to ensure you're maximizing your output going into fall. So as summer winds down, we're still getting a ton of production. Tomatoes are still going great, peppers are still going great. Most of your summer plants are still producing. But what's happening is the nights are getting colder. And because of this, the fruit is taking a lot longer to mature. And in some cases, the plants are overproducing as their days are numbered. It's at this time that our gardens can look and feel neglected as the euphoria of summer gardening and summer harvests begins to wane. But don't let it discourage you, because massive production is just around the corner. So how do we get to this utopia of fall production? Well, it starts with 3 simple strategies that I employ into my September gardens. Strategy number 1 is you need to start thinking about your fall crops. Fall gardening actually starts in the middle of summer. The modern permaculturist doesn't simply cut down all their summer plants and then put in their fall plants. They are thinking far ahead of that. Now, the 2 best ways to get ahead on your fall garden and thus your fall crops are transplants and succession gardening. Now, a lot of your bigger fall crops like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, your collard greens, and your kale can be done early from transplants right now. So that when you do harvest that final tomato, cucumber, eggplant, pepper, whatever, you'll have a big established plant to go in and take their place. Now, on the flip side, if you're really planning ahead, you are already growing your fall crop as your summer crop continues to grow. This is called succession gardening. And what this does is it eliminates the downtime period between a harvest and the next planting. Because in a nutshell, you've planted before the next harvest. And this actually works best in the fall. And the reason for that is that a lot of fall plants don't like the summer heat. And so they'll germinate fast and they'll grow amazing in the understory of your summer plants. Now, the second strategy to really fine-tune your fall garden is a fall cleanup. Now, a lot of people, gardeners included, have this mentality of a spring cleanup. Basically, leaving everything to sit in disarray all through the winter until the following spring. And this is a shame, because not only are you missing out on fall production, you could be setting yourself up for the following spring crops to not be as good as they could be. So a big fall cleanup can go hand in hand with transplanting your fall crops. Simply clear your beds of your old summer plants and then prepare the new organic layers for your fall transplants. Now it gets a little trickier with succession gardening because both seasons' crops are growing simultaneously. But as you get the hang of it, you'll see that a combination of both can do wonders for your garden. Okay, so we've covered 2 points already. 1, we've covered planning your fall crops, whether that's transplants or succession gardening. And number 2, we covered fall cleanup. That involves getting rid of the summer plants that are starting to fail, that are no longer producing, cleaning up those beds, and getting them prepared for fall and the long winter. So that leaves us with the 3rd fall strategy, and the one that I believe is the most important, and that's rebuilding the integrity of your soils. So your soils have taken a beating over the summer. At no other time of the year has your soil profile had the extreme variations of moisture, temperature, and nutrient levels. Fall and winter is indeed nature's time to recharge itself. However, at the very top of that list has to be your own compost. All year, you've been building and nurturing your compost pile, and fall is the perfect time to give it back to your garden. Compost, coupled with an organic mulch top layer, means you likely don't even have to worry about soil supplements or additives. However, if you are short on compost, there are alternatives available. Supplementing your soils with slow-release organic nutrients such as alfalfa meal, canola meal, kelp meal, or even seaweed is an excellent way to revitalize spent garden beds and ensure robust fall crops, as well as giving that added boost in the spring. Furthermore, if your soil is in need of even more attention, things like rock dust, rock phosphate, Epsom salt, and ground oyster shells are also readily available. And if you're in a situation where your soil needs pH correcting, fall is the perfect time to apply your dolomite lime or your elemental sulfur to solve any acidity or alkalinity issues. But going back to that first point, you have to mulch. Now, mulching in the summer has the beneficial effects of reducing extreme temperatures, as well as mitigating evaporation rates and locking in that much needed moisture. Mulching in the fall and winter is the opposite. You want to mulch your beds heavily in the fall, not only to add organic material to your soil profile, but also to act as a thermal barrier for the cold weather. But more importantly, you want to mulch because fall and winter are the seasons when we usually get the most precipitation. Now, when you leave bare soil over the fall and winter, it will get rained upon, it will get snowed on, and as that water moves down through the soil profile, it'll leach your soil of any goodness it might contain. So there's no point in adding any soil supplements or rich compost if you're simply going to leave it exposed to rain after rain after rain. So without mulching, come spring, you'll have that much harder of a time getting good spring crops. All right, that's it for today, guys. Hopefully you learned a few strategies to help you and your fall garden maximize its potential. You know, fall gardening is often overlooked, and by the time people realize they can still grow, it's too late. So the time to think about your fall gardening is actually in September. As always, leave any questions or comments down below. I'd love to hear about your fall strategies on how you keep your garden going right through to the winter. And if you like some of the strategies and principles that we've been covering on this channel, hit the like button and possibly share it with some of your fellow gardeners. Click subscribe if you haven't already. For those of you that have, I really do appreciate the support. And I'll see you next time.